this part on half and half. Do this part on half and half. We will discuss with love and laugh. We will discuss with love and laugh. One of our favorite shows that mean so much to us. You know we had to show love. We had to show love. We will recap every episode. Talk about all the jokes that were told. Maybe even get a little tea. Tune in and see.
Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of the Big Half and Half Rewatch podcast, the podcast where we rewatch the UPN sitcom Half and Half and discuss from a modern point of view. I'm Barrett.
Myles.
And today's episode is the Big Sistah Sans Soul episode, written by Winifred Hervey. Winifred also was a writer on The Golden Girls, my other fave show that I did a podcast about. So clearly we have a connection. And a woman came into my now former job a couple of weeks ago, and we started talking, and she mentioned that she knew Winifred Hervey because she saw my Golden Girls bag, and we got to talking, and she was saying that she was going to try to connect us. And that was before this podcast had even started popping. So I felt like it was meant to be. And the lady and I have kept in touch. She texted, me the other day. We talked on the phone. So hopefully Winifred Hervey, if you're out there, we'd love to hear from you. She's very elusive. She was not at any of the Golden Girls conventions. I don't know where she is or what she's doing, but I personally would love to get
We
to
gotta
speak to
find out. She her credits is like a list of who shows that made me
her.
outside of the what you just said. Like we talking about the Steve Harvey show created in the house, like just the iconic shows. She worked on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the Cosby Show, Benson, Mork and Mindy, Laverne and Shirley. Like I'm talking about a dream sitcom career. So we would love to speak with her and just get to know, she's got to have just so much knowledge from all of these shows. It's insane.
And to be a black woman doing this,
Yeah.
that's pretty iconic because I went and looked. I said, I hope a black person wrote this considering the topic. And I was
Yeah.
pleasantly surprised to see her name.
Yes.
And this originally aired November 4th, 2002. And on that day, the number one movie was The Santa Claus 2. How about that? And the number one show was Late Night with David Letterman, the episode that had Jay-Z and Tom Brokaw. That's quite a pair to have,
Okay. Yeah.
the two of them. But Myles, would you like to get us started?
We can get in with a little recap rap. Here we go. Mona hits it off with a guy named Miles, but after a while, he's not feeling her style. She wants to be black enough, so she tries to black it up. And even though it works, she realizes losing herself kind of hurts. Will he let her go if she stops putting on the show? Let's start the recap so we can all know.
In watching this, I didn't even think of you when she was saying Miles, maybe because it's spelled differently. That didn't even cross my mind. But the episode starts with them waiting outside the club, which I think we see a lot during this era of sitcoms. I know there was a Girlfriends episode where Tony says, "You're my best friend. I was getting my ass beat," or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And they were outside the club. That kind of takes me back. Did you
It was
used
a
to do clubs?
it was a fun. First of all, it was fun to see a scene change. We always open in on one of the houses, and so it was fun to be outside, out of a new environment. And yes, not only was I a frequent club goers, not at this time, but maybe a few years after this, because I would have been in high school. So, but even though there were teen clubs where I was at, so I was going to teen parties and clubs too. But then I became a DJ, so my life was at the club. So
I did not know you were a DJ.
yeah, I was a DJ for a long, long time, for like a decade. So I was a club promoter DJ. So I was deep in the club. So even just hearing the complaints about when we opened up and they're complaining about being in line for an hour, I was like, man, I do not miss those days of I remember before I was a DJ going to parties and waiting for an hour in Atlanta. But then B, on the flip side, when I was a DJ and people texted me trying to get in because they've been waiting outside and didn't want to wait. So just seeing that brought me back to yes, that era of just when I was living that nightlife and dealing with the hectic crowds outside the club and the celebrities coming in and people trying to get close to the celebrities and just that whole charade of it all. Just it was a lot of flashbacks for me for sure.
Wow, a lot of lore today. Well, I used to stay at the club. I loved going to the club. I've not been since before the pandemic. I don't know if my body could handle it now. I'd be leaving in not even just the ambulance. They'd have to airlift me probably. So I don't know if I can do it anymore. But I definitely had many times waiting outside. And a lot of times I would go to the club on Halloween. So you're waiting outside with everybody dressed up. One
Oh
of my
man.
favorite days to go. But as a former DJ, did it get on your nerves when people would request different songs?
It would get on my nerve when they would request the same songs or like the obvious songs that you don't have to request. Like if we're in Prime, Usher, yeah, you don't have to request Usher, yeah. Like obviously that's a song that's going to get played. Like if you want to request something niche and like or something that I might miss, okay, like I can appreciate a random request if it's not Captain Obvious. Or my biggest pet peeve is when they would request something I just played, but they just got in. I played it 10 minutes ago and they literally walk in and come to the DJ booth and ask for the song that I played 10 minutes ago and they miss it. And then they were like, well, can you play it again? I'm like, I just played it 10 minutes ago. I can't appease you and piss off 150 other people because you just got here. That's not how this works.
Well, good to know that when we have our official half and half podcast party, that you will be there to DJ.
Yes, I keep a good playlist on me and I'm ready to go.
Good
During
to
the
know.
strikes, I was like the official like picket DJ. Like I was always ready and known for my playlist at the picket. So yeah,
Oh,
I
go
still got
DJ. That's my DJ. And while they're waiting outside, DMX rolls up. RIP, Stacey Dash, if you're
man.
listening to this and you're just now finding out that he has passed again, I'm sorry for you. I hope that you're okay. But I had to think about it. I was like, wait a minute, didn't DMX pass? But in my head, I was like, no, no, that wasn't him. Then I Googled it and it was him. Damn, damn.
Yeah,
Gone too
that's
soon.
another one we lost way too soon. But like, what a career! Like, just not even. Like, first of all, a rap icon, legend. Like, his voice is just one of one. Every Christmas, I even listen to his Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which was hilarious. Like,
Mm.
he's so funny sometimes without even trying to be funny. But also, like, when he does want to be funny, like in an actual sitcom, he's hilarious. So, like, man, I really miss him. But like, I don't know if you watched the his movies they like Belly, Romeo Must Die, Cradle to the Grave. Like he was just
I believe I've seen a few of those in my younger
yeah,
years.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but I think with the loss of UPN and a lot of these black shows, I forget how many black rappers, singers, artists would be on these shows all the time. Like I just saw a clip of Heavy D playing himself on A Different World on Threads.
yeah.
And those are things you lose when there's no black shows, which is
Hmm.
unfortunate because there was a time period where you just knew you were going to be seeing somebody and they
Yeah,
didn't really do it as much as they could have with them being in the record industry. It wasn't
right.
overdone, but they would pop up. So that's very unfortunate. But Mona and Spencer are out there trying to get in. They couldn't get in there in the record industry.
Yeah, again, like having been on that side of it, I know that they should have known the D. Like if she's doing her job as an A&R, you should know the people, the local DJs, because they're the most important people to you. Like you have a good rapport or a good relationship with them if you are doing your job as an A&R. Like you need the DJs to be your friends, so then you can get them to play your artist songs that you're trying to push. So she should have known someone.
And then she pretends to be Scary Spice, which if this was today, they would just call her Mel B. And problematic. Why the black one got to be scary? But she came for
That's
her a
no
little
lie.
bit.
That hit me too for some reason for like the first time. It never really hit me until watching this again and the way they kept saying it. And like, I don't know, it was something weird about it where it kept hitting me too.
And she's talking about, oh, you couldn't get somebody A-list. We haven't heard from her. Excuse me, Mona, but the last Spice Girls album came out in 2000. This was only 2 years later. So
Yeah.
relax.
I
Not
guess,
too
but
much.
I guess when you could disappear back then because there was no social media. So like if you
Right.
wasn't on TRL or whatever, I guess like
Not too much
people
on my
thought you
Spice
vanished.
Girls. Okay, Mona? We're not
But
doing that.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing.
But Mona's little accent that she did not let go was giving me more Oliver Twist than it was Mel B. Very much, please, sir, can I have some more? But
Yeah.
she did the best she could. So we're
She
gonna
did, and I
allow.
was surprised. First of all, too, that it worked. Like again, because like I get
Yeah.
we haven't seen her, but like he was just like, oh, he watched DMX roll in, and then he was like, oh, I got it. We're gonna be celebrities and get you in, and then just the fact that it was a black security guard at the door who also could not recognize, like, who didn't know the difference between her and Scary Spice. I was just like, okay,
It's
well,
really
I would
just
have,
the hair, but
yeah, literally.
okay.
I would have appreciated it more if they had a white security guard, and I was like, okay, maybe he just thinks we all look alike. But this black man should have known that that is not Scary Spice.
And when did Neo come out? Because Spencer could have said he was Neo, but maybe this was pre-Neo.
It was probably like a couple years before Neo started coming out. Otherwise, that would
So
have been
close.
perfect.
And, like you said, that works magically. Now they're in the club because they would be checking for her at the Shark Club, which I thought was going to be real, like the Lush Lounge, the way they kept saying Shark Club, but I
Right,
couldn't find anything. So maybe they just made that up. I don't know. But the man that she was after ended up being now I knew him from Eve first. That was the
right.
first thing that came to mind. But I forgot that he also was Miranda's husband on Grey's Anatomy, and then he went on to do Station 19, which was a spinoff. And I was looking at his IMDb. He's done a lot of like, long term roles because these days we look at to get 2 episodes, but he's done a lot of
Right.
short things, but he's had a few longer things. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, Jason George be working, and since you always like to draw attention to, I be knowing everybody. I do have to say, I do know him, Jason George, like not very well, but speaking of the picket line, he's a big SAG member, and like he was very present during the strike. So we would picket together sometimes at Disney, and we have some mutual friends who also worked on Grey's Anatomy. So I would see him like quite often. Like I remember when the strike ended, and we like all celebrated at the same bar together. Like he's a really cool guy. But yeah, his resume is crazy. But as a huge E fan, like that show really hit for me. So like, every time I see him, I always just think of Eve, like because I've seen that show so many times, and I rewatched that again during the pandemic. So to see him right after that, in real life too, like every time I see him, that's who he is for me.
Even though the show should have been called Shelley, but
It never
what do I
made
know?
sense.
But yeah, you do know everybody, and if they do end up with another strike, hopefully I can make my way over there and just work my way into the picket line. Hell no, we won't go and just blend in with everybody. I support the cause,
That's
and
right.
if I end up meeting a few people in the process, so be it. But at this point, we move on to Mona now being, I guess, what's the word? Was she picked up? Was she picked up by this man? Did she pick him up?
Yeah. I get they he definitely kind of picked her up. So he approached her with his terrible British accent, pretending to be somebody who he was not. And then when he's like, oh, so he realizes that like she's supposed to be scared spicy. So he's like, you don't remember me? And she's like, and she's trying to figure it out. And then he was like, oh, that's crazy because like we were married. So like he's up there pretending to be her ex-husband, which I don't think that would be enough to get you into the club. First of all, if
Yeah.
that's he got in here.
Unless you're
Like,
Eddie Murphy, because I know they were
yeah,
together, but I don't think they got married.
exactly. But outside of that, like that's not gonna help you at all. But anyway, I guess that's what got him in here. So he's using his bad fake British accent, and then like then she's like, "Oh yeah, I remember you. You're the bloke I sent all my alimony checks to, the one with the mole on your naughty bits." And then he was like, "Actually, I got that removed. You want to see it?" And he starts like to show her his naughty bits, and then she stops him and like she drops the charade, and he's like, "Haha, just kidding. Like I'm also out here lying. Neither one of us is who we say we are. But like, you seem cool. Let's chat." And then he like starts flirting with whatever, and they pick each other up. I guess we'll say.
Well, I think she looks more like, since you got your Boy Meets World shirt on, I think she looks more like Angela than she does Scary Spice.
1,000%. 1,000%.
That's just me. But that was an interesting way to, get their romance started. I've only had one person I ever start talking to in the club in that way. And, well, one of them, I was out of town and he was straight anyway. But the other guy that I was like, I'm gonna talk to him, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
and, got his number and everything. Then I got a call, why is your number in my man's phone? From
Mm,
a woman. And I said,
mm.
why is your man giving out his phone number in a gay club? So, that didn't really go so well. So I don't have a lot of positive experiences with that. But I was gonna say at least Mona does, but I guess you probably didn't either. in this instance.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I do like the meet cute was cool though. I do like he had a real smooth line where he was like, he asked if she was here with anybody, and then she said no, and then Mona asked if you're here with anybody, and then he said, I am now, and then they walked off together. And that was a real cute
I
little
don't know
pickup
if
line
everybody
moment.
would have been that easily impressed, but since Mona's a little thirsty, I think it.
Again, it's stalkerish if they don't like you. If they do like you, then it's cute. Cause like if you if she thought he was ugly and he was like, I am now, then that would have been a turnoff. But because he was a handsome man, she was like, okay, bet, and then they
I'm
walked
sure
off
that
together.
helped. Um, After that, it was very quick. It was hard. I was like, wait, is this the same day or is this not? I thought it was the same day until Dee Dee said that I've heard a lot about him because she comes back with him and then the Dee Dees are, descending down the stairs. So because she says
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about him and there was no phones to be texting, I'm assuming that this was days later.
Yeah,
He comes
but
up.
before we did that, we can't skip the last DMX scene where Spence is begging DMX for like tips on how to pick up girls, and he was really being annoying to that man. Like
Speaking
DMX
of
didn't even
thirsty,
have like DMX didn't even have like a flock of women around him. So like I don't know why he was acting like this. Like I guess he did see DMX get that one girl walk up to him when he got out of the car before they walked into the club. But like outside of that, it wasn't like DMX was just like had 30 girls around him. But for whatever reason, Spence super thirsty and was like begging DMX to like teach me how to like exude, he kept saying. And then he was like, "Hey, all right, I see you're not gonna stop bothering me until I do this. So okay, whatever." And then but then it was really funny. My favorite DMX line when he was like, "I see you're not gonna stop bothering me until I tell you something, huh?" And then Spencer was like, "Nope." And then DMX just looked at him with the straightest face of all time, and he was like, "That's why you by yourself now."
mm, I
Because you
mean,
annoying.
maybe him and Mona have a lot more in common than I realize because they're both
They're
thirsty
thirsty.
and doing
They're
too
very
much.
thirsty. Hmm.
So sad. I guess that's why they
Very
almost ended up
thirsty.
together. But
Yep.
so we're back. We see the Dee Dees and they meet Miles and have their whole little interaction. Interesting that she refers to her as my father's wife, not my stepmother.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a pointed comment or what,
Yeah.
but I was like, oh, harsh. And
Yeah.
immediately Miles gets to judging. Like the minute they
Yeah.
get in the door, like, damn, nothing is good enough for this man. I mean, I
Yep.
don't drink Sunny D and I don't typically drink tap water like that either. However, I would have at least been polite about it.
I thought I was tripping because I do drink Sunny D, and I was like, is Sunny D a very white thing, or if it's a very poor? I don't know what the connotation is for Sunny D. I always thought Sunny D was
Um,
all right drink.
I mean, I remember seeing the commercials and being all excited wanting to try it, and then when I did, it burned my throat.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
So
very mid drink, but I mean, it's a great cheap drink. So I don't know why he was so against it.
maybe I'm an elitist. I don't drink that or Tampico or Little Hugs, but that's just
Yeah, I drank all of those. That was the hood in me.
a little chemically for me. But I
Yeah,
guess Mona has different preferences, we'll say. And
yeah.
at her big age, would you still drink Sunny D as an adult?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't drink it as an adult,
Okay.
but I mean, as a kid, it worked. But yeah, I
She's
wouldn't
a little
judge
old.
nobody as if they were like white or weird for drinking it.
I
Like
wouldn't
that
even
would
think
be,
white or weird. I don't know, like if I was grown and dating and a guy was like, "Oh, would you like some Sunny D?" I would
yeah.
probably
It
be
just
like,
sounds. It
"Sunny
sounds kind of
D?"
goofy. Like unless you got kids in your house, it sounds kind of goofy.
It's not like it's a Capri Sun. Everybody loves Capri Suns now. That's
Right, right,
that's different.
right,
I'm gonna, want to get engaged on the first date if you offer me Capri Suns. But yeah,
right.
he had an issue with that. And then he had an
Yeah,
issue with her music. And I don't know, maybe because
yeah.
I'm not a big music person, I'm more of a TV person. But to just be like, let's listen to some music always seems weird to me. Do people really do that in real
That's
life?
especially if I mean I get it, but also if we just left the club, like, or if we always talk, if we meet at the club a lot, like I don't want to be listening to music all the time with you. Like, can we do something else?
Right. I
Is
mean,
that
I'll
all we
put
do?
on music if I have people over, but I'm not going to say, let's listen
Right.
to music,
Yeah,
everyone.
like, yeah, I'll literally just throw it on in the background if a bunch of
One
people
is
coming
just
over
so
and we're gonna be
awkward. I think that's what it
exactly,
is. It's just
exactly.
uncomfortable
And
in
then
her skin.
and then the book threw him off too because at first he got excited. He was like, "Oh, you're reading Cornell West," and he was like, then she was like, "Well, no, actually, I put that down, and now I'm reading like this new John Grisham book because it's got murders and sex." And then he got all serious and he was like, "You know, John Grisham tried to keep Denzel out of that movie," which I had to look up and like realize. I guess he's talking about the Pelican Brief, which great movie. And I was like, "But is this a true thing, or is this just a joke? Did John Grisham?"
He sounds like he's one of those conspiracy theorists, like Michael Evans type. You know, they trying to keep the
Right,
black man from doing this.
right,
And in today's world, I feel like Cornell West is viewed very differently, and
yeah,
that he probably wouldn't have the same. Well, he might, Miles might, but I don't
right,
think he's seen in that way to be trying to choose my words carefully. I think he's seen
yeah,
as problematic in some ways to a lot of people that he probably wasn't at that time, and that can be
right.
said for a lot of people. But again, with just these are just a couple of things, a couple of little parts of her. For all you know, everything else she has is hip hop and Motown. Like again, she works at a record label, so yes, she's saying Avril Lavigne, but it did just come out
Yeah,
apparently. And maybe she needs
right.
to listen to all kinds. Like you didn't ask her what else she has. It's just because that's the first thing. Isn't that the one like Skater Boy? Wouldn't that have been on
Skater boy,
there?
yeah,
That
that's
was my
prime skater
shit
boy. Me,
back
me
in the
too.
day.
But I have a mixed bag when it comes to music. I like all things. So,
Well, she said,
yeah,
"See you later, boy," which she should have said
yeah,
that to him.
right.
But he didn't like that. He didn't like that her cable was out. I don't know what that means. Does cable go out,
Was
or did you
confused by
not
that
pay
too when
it?
he was like, "Let's watch BET," and she said, "My cable's out." I'm like, "Do you? Is it just is it temporarily off, like you didn't pay the bill, or do you not have cable?" Those are two different things, and I've never heard anybody say my
Mm.
cable's out. Like it wasn't like it was a lightning storm and your cable's out. Like your
We know
cable's either
she's
off
not good
or you
with
don't have it.
money, so
Right.
that's what I assumed. Now,
Me
I
too.
will say the Dawson's Creek DVD. I was like, okay, now, Mom, you doing too much. That's too much. R.I.P. James
Yeah.
Andrew,
Yeah.
but
That was a lot.
who's
Like
trying
and
to
that's the
look at
only
that?
DVD set you have? She said that's I got the whole set on DVD and that's it. Like you
I mean,
don't
I've
got
never
no other.
watched Dawson's Creek, to be honest, but I don't think my first time would be on me, on a date with somebody,
Yeah.
probably not.
It's
So,
it's not a fun like just hop into it and watch show with
yeah,
somebody who
so
you don't really know like that.
I think Mona just probably has not had a lot of practice bringing guys over, so she wasn't really prepared with what to do and how to be. And I think
Yeah.
that is something that maybe they didn't say head on. But I think that is the overarching thing.
I
Overarching?
think so too.
Overarching?
Oh, I think it could be either.
Well, whatever it is, that's what it is.
But
Because
yeah.
she isn't used to it because she doesn't date. And when I was dating, I had like a whole little thing. I felt like the people on the shows, they like, hit the wall and the bar comes out and the drinks
Right.
drop down. Like I had a whole little system because I was
Yeah.
dating so
Yeah.
much that, I already knew what was going to go on, how I was
Yeah.
going to play the evening and all of that. So it was second nature to me. But I guess if I had not dated much and somebody
Right.
ended up coming over, I'd be like, oh my God, what can I do? What do I do? So maybe that's what it was. But it is interesting. He would come all the way over there just to dip the fuck out right away because of these
Yeah.
very minute things.
Yeah, suddenly he's like, I gotta go to work in the morning. It's like, bruh, if you had to go to work in the morning, why did you? It wasn't. You should have never came
And
here. Like,
BET at that, if it was as late as they made it seem, what y'all watching? BET Uncut?
well, he said he wanted to watch the news, which was wild. Like he mentioned, like one of the old news anchors from back then, and I was like, I mean, I guess the news maybe did come on at like 10, I think, on BT when BT was functioning.
Hmm. I don't
And
even
we
remember
used
them
to have,
having news.
yeah, it was a time we used to actually have black news.
Damn,
So
damn.
I think that's what he wanted to watch, and like that was the last straw. Where he was like, I can't watch my black news, and now you're trying to throw me Dawson's Creek. Yeah, I'm out
And
of
if
here.
anything, I feel like he was trying to overcompensate, improve his blackness because of his extremes of it has to be this, has to be that, just black, 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 blackity black. because if you're really down, you don't have to constantly talk about it. And that applies to anything. I did used to know somebody who would say sometimes a lion likes to hear itself roar, but I don't agree with that. I feel like people who go on about something, like people who post about their relationship constantly and how happy they are, usually it's because they're not. So I
Yep.
think it's that same type of thing of trying to convince Mona and maybe himself.
Yep.
But again, Mona is not really seeing the red flag. She's still thirsting. So
Mhm.
we
They
and
did have a really big kiss on the way out, regardless of all these
yeah.
things that went bad. Like then he was like, "All right, I'm out," and then she's like, she did feel bad, tried to apologize. He was like, "No, it's cool." Then they had a great kiss
I
as they
mean,
left.
he still wanted a piece. And to me, I
Yeah,
feel like her apartment is very Afrocentric. She even finally moved up the bongos with the little print on the top, right in the
right.
front where he could see. Was that not black enough for you? I mean, it seems really, I don't know if what the maybe like what is that? Like neo soul type vibe, Erica Badu.
Like aesthetic has always given me that. So like that's what floored me about a lot of this. I'm like the way she dresses and her vibe has always
Exactly. So
given me like neo soul, like what
what he talking
like Eric.
about?
Yeah, it was throwing me off, but yeah. So anyway, we cut to a few days later, and then they're at Mona's, and Phyllis is there, and she's telling her it's been 2 weeks. Apparently, we just jumped 2 weeks later,
Yeah.
and everything's going great.
And we see the infamous coat pop up. I did not
Yep.
realize that that was in this episode. If you all are following us on Instagram, I posted somebody else's video where they were saying how they love that coat that Dee Dee has on. They want that specific coat. They don't want a duplicate, blah, blah, blah. And people just going crazy in the comments still. Even though Ceci, the costume designer, is tagged and is responding, people are
Yep.
sending all these links and why don't you find the person behind it, all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, we got that. This is
We
just
did.
a little kiki, but thank you. And I did message the person who made the video, and they were like, now you see how I feel. So shout out to them. I will hopefully be able to insert a little clip of them discussing their love for the coat since the coat is in this episode.
This coat literally keeps me up at night. I've searched high and low, left and right, under rocks, behind buildings, and dumpsters for this motherfucking coat. I don't care about no dupe. I don't need nothing similar. I want this coat. I don't plan on having kids, but if you find me this coat, I will give you my firstborn. I will go get knocked up today. You hear me? I need this bitch like I need air. I cannot stress it enough how bad I need this coat. I want it. I need it. Please help me find it. This coat.
Mhm.
But it was interesting to see Phyllis revert back to the there I was. Like, okay, girl, the story is not
It
true.
was insane. She got there. First of all, she's just like I mean, like I get why her daughter's so thirsty because, like, first of all, she was just like bragging about, oh, like, oh, he can pay for all the meals and his credit card ain't got confiscated. Is that the bar where like this your credit card ain't getting confiscated? Is but then like at least Phyllis tried to raise the bar, and then she was like, okay, but does he have a job? Can you call him at home? Is that his mama's car? And then she's like, well, he got a job, like he's a sports writer, he owns his home, and he paid for his mama car. So then that had Phyllis on board. And then he came in with the flowers, which is always going to be a pro for any mama. And then Mona says she had just made chicken saute and peanut sauce, and with peanut sauce. And is that a thing you ever heard of? Is that a thing you've ever eaten?
I don't know if I've eaten it, but it sounds like something I've heard of, but I don't believe that she made it. And I also was looking at that cheese platter. Was that like a big block of Velveeta that she just stuck on there?
That's what it
Nope,
looked like.
not even sliced or
That's
anything.
definitely what it looked like. So yeah, after he was like, "Nah, I'm cool with that," because he's boycott. This is the blackest black man of all time. He's boycotting peanuts until Georgia gets rid of the Confederate state flag. Good luck with that, sir. I lived in Georgia. Good luck with that. Like you're boycotting peanuts in general because of the state flag. Because most peanuts are made in Georgia, which most people don't even know. Which was a crazy fun fact. I was like, that's deep.
He's
That's a
doing too
deep cut.
much. He
You're
is
doing
that
way too
Miles.
much.
I'll call him Bad Miles. Bad Miles would
Yes.
be one of the Hotep people
Yes.
on Twitter. Maybe he'd be a Hebrew Israelite. I don't know, but he's just really over the top. Like you're gonna
So
boycott
over the top.
everything at the state, or you're not drinking Coca-Cola, you're not watching ESPN. Like, okay,
Like now he wouldn't even watch BET because it's owned by Paramount, which is owned
true.
by some bad people. he would be so stuck in today's world. Like I don't even know how he would
He
function.
was
But
ahead of
like you,
his time.
he was. But like you mentioned, he ate that bad cheese because he didn't have no beef with Wisconsin for whatever reason. So she offered him a cheese plate, which was hilarious. But the cheese was whack. But then Didi came in, and then Phyllis was like, here go Didi and her inappropriate cleavage. Her cleavage
I
was not that crazy, first of all.
mean, it didn't jump out to me. Maybe I'm not the target demo for that, but it didn't seem that outrageous. But I guess any
Yeah,
cleavage is inappropriate when Mona's trying to get a man.
I think
So
that's what it was. Any woman coming in, there was just any kind of obstacle to her daughter
turtlenecks
finding,
only, Dee Dee.
basically,
And it is kind of weird that she kind of, I don't know if she didn't really invite herself because she was already going, but to make it a threesome, the three of them
yeah.
hanging out, like, girl, that's her man. They just got together. Relax. Where your man at?
It was really weird that like she bust in and it was like she said I got a man like who's at the club, like we can go there. And I'm like, you go do that. She's here with a man. Why would you? What
And
are you
where
doing?
was that man? I don't recall seeing him. Did I miss him? Did
He
he
was there for a little bit.
very little? Because I
He
don't
literally
even
didn't
remember seeing
speak.
him. Oh, he was just there, just to be there. And while there, we see that Mona dances like her father. So it's funny that she
Man,
was laughing at him when she's worse. I don't know who to compare to. She's definitely not Elaine. She's in her own
yeah.
path right there. She's as an old coworker of mine used to say, she's one of God's originals with that dancing. Because I ain't never seen nothing like that.
Yeah.
And we already know Mona can't sing from the intro. And now we see she can't dance. I
Yeah.
wonder, Rachel True, can you sing and dance? Or was this just for your character? I'm
Right.
wondering.
It's a good question.
And I thought that they had her not being able to, dance and stuff because she's just corny and goofy, but now I'm like, is it because they're talking about the fact that she's, not really black enough? Is that's why she can't dance? I don't know. I can dance, but my husband can't dance. So
Also, imagine being a whole music A&R and you don't have rhythm. Like I don't.
I don't understand how people can't dance. Like I can understand not being able to do certain moves, but to not be able to catch a beat just blows my mind. Unless you have
Yeah.
something going on with you that may keep you from doing that, to just
Right.
not be able to catch a beat. How? Like you hear it, just move with it. I don't understand.
And I get even like some people catch the offbeat, and I'm like, at least that's a beat, but like she wasn't on no kind of beat. Like
She was
it
on
was
her
just
own beat.
yeah,
She
literally
was
marching to the beat of her own drum, as they
her
say.
own little world. She looked like she was on something. I'm back to thinking Mona's on that stuff because she definitely seemed like she had a little something when she got into the club. But I love that she was so carefree because Mona's usually so self-conscious. So
Yep,
the time you should have been self-conscious, Mona, you were not.
yep,
But she seemed surprised that she could not dance. Like she didn't seem
yeah.
to know that. I don't know how. Phyllis should have told her at some point that she can't
Somebody.
dance like a grandmama.
But
But
then Myles was looking over because at Didi, who was getting down on the dance floor with the guy who had asked him to come to the club. So she was over there dancing her ass off, and Myles looking at her like, "Well, shoot, I mean, she's killing it over there. You want to dance too?" And then she's like, "Oh no, this ain't my type of vibe. This ain't my song." Then he's like, "Well, I'm about to go maybe see if I can go cut in over there with Didi." She, oh, actually, the song ain't that bad.
which is so
She got
fucking
us
rude because Dee Dee's already on a date, allegedly.
already
And
with a
you're
whole
on a
man over
date
there.
with Dee Dee's sister and you're just gonna go leave her. Like, again, red flags, red flags. I don't see a lot of
Breaking court.
redeeming qualities, if any, for this guy, really. So I'm
Right,
not sure what she's so hung up on me. Yeah, he's nice looking, but he ain't that damn nice looking to put up with that
right.
shit. But then we go on to back at Mona's place and okay, so did anybody else see this? That there was like a little blooper where you could see the wall between the
Ooh,
hallway and the apartment. I'm always so curious. Do people not see this when they're
didn't see it.
editing or, boom mics in different shows? Maybe because I'm so meticulous when I edit stuff, but I'm just like, y'all ain't see that? Anybody see that? Okay, nobody saw it.
Sometimes you just gotta take the L. Be like, we see it, but like, how deep is it, guys? How bad is it? If this is the good shot and like it changes too much, we'll just keep it and
Take
move
it to
on
the
with our
edit.
lives.
But again, with the pretentiousness and The same thing she eventually says is what I was thinking of. He's not the, arbiter of blackness.
Yeah,
And for him to just have so much to say about how she's not a sister, she's a sister, and chitlins and chitterlings. I don't eat
yeah.
chitlins. Am I not black?
I
I ain't
also
eating that.
don't, and like I despise them. But yeah, he was very like, all right, like she was like, she thought they were still supposed to be going to the movies tomorrow. He like, nah, girl, I need a sister. You a sister, and then she did even say like, he's like, I need a sister, and then she was like, I'm a sister, and he was like, yeah, with an ER, which I found hilarious that the ER, the hard
Yeah,
ER is a bad thing. He's
it
like, you're a
is.
sister with an ER. I need one with an AH, which I wonder if like the play on that was intentional or if it's just a happy coincidence. But either way, I
Y'all know
appreciated
what we
it.
talking about.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that Dee Dee is the one that I guess he was gravitating towards when typically, wealthy black people are
Yeah.
seen as whitewashed, and she really doesn't have a lot of stereotypical black things going on.
She
So
just got
just because
rhythm.
she can dance, yeah, that's enough dancing. And I don't know, maybe I was triggered. Gonna go out on a limb and assume you've had the same issue a lot of people,
Yes.
oh, you're not black enough. And people never even think that I'm black, which is the sick
Mm,
part. Both of my parents, black. All four
that's
of my
crazy.
grandparents, black. So why people, it's not even a question. They never assume that. It's, oh, what do you mix with? Nothing.
I used to get that
And
up as a child
somebody
all the
has
time.
has said that, and I'll say nothing. Like, no, you're not Jill. I'm like, why would I lie about that?
Right.
And or they think that I'm Hispanic. A lot of times people think I'm Indian. And I don't know if it's a
Mm,
Chicago thing. Chicago black people are really hung up on like uh
Indian.
they're just hung up on they're very colorist and they're very like obsessed with ethnicity in that way to where
Yeah.
it's almost like people in Chicago feel like if you're not jet black, then you must be something else. And it's like we
Yep.
come in different shades.
Yep.
And I mean, my last name is Black Man. Literally, that is my
That's the
government name.
irony in it.
And I don't know what people think now. If my hair is straight, maybe I
Yeah.
can I can say, but I
Yeah.
think I look black. Plenty of black people look like me. A lot of Ethiopians look like me. So,
Yeah, I do wonder because I also like grew up in that area, like a couple of hours outside of Chicago, and I had to deal with the same thing. And I was constantly like questioned, or people assumed that there was something that was a part of me that I was not stating, or like if it was the curly hair, or like I was a little lighter when I was a child. So I don't know if it was that, or just like the quote unquote being well spoken, like it's the stereotype of
mhm.
what they assume we should be like.
I ain't even
It's
get
like,
into the personality. Shit. Even just
yeah,
looking at me, they would say that. But where were you talking about you was outside of Chicago?
I'm from Decatur, so like 2 hours outside of Chicago. It's like right outside of Springfield, St. Louis area, like
I
all of
think
that.
when you said Decatur, when we probably first
You
talked
thought it was
over
Georgia?
2 years ago, I was thinking Georgia.
Yeah. No, Decatur, Illinois. Yep, I went from there to Georgia, but yeah, so like all my family is like in Champaign, Chicago area. Like,
Let me go look them up. I might know them. But yeah, personality wise, yeah, because of how we speak. So what? Because I'm black, I can't know
and I
proper
guess
English.
because we like Golden Girls and things of that nature, where it's like, oh, you
Like, I'm sorry that I am, unique, or I guess I
right.
don't know. Like, we're not a
I can't like
monolith.
Golden Girls and Living Single. Like I can't do both. Like why I gotta?
Like, I hate that my people seem to put themselves and others in these boxes. Like, well,
Yep.
you're black, you have to like this, you have to dress like this, look like this. Like, no, we're all different. We're all from
Yep.
different backgrounds. It's okay to have, various things you're into. I feel like it's not as bad now. A lot of people are able
Right.
to openly express their diverse interests and it's not seen a
Hmm.
certain way. But shit, it surely didn't used to be like
It
this.
was. I mean, I got on my Boy Meets World shirt right now, and like this was my favorite show growing up, and like it would until we got Angela, who we mentioned earlier. It wasn't no black people on there, so like people would look at that a certain way. Like it was just like yeah, it was a lot. So I definitely felt related to Mona in this episode.
I just don't understand why there's so much negativity with it too, because it's not just, oh, you're whitewash, you act white, you talk white, whatever, but it's a negative thing put on it as well to otherize you. But then it also is a reflection of how you view yourself. Because if you think that somebody
Hmm.
who's well spoken and educated is somehow white, does that
Hmm.
mean you think all black people are ignorant, including yourself? Like,
Exactly.
what is really going on?
There's
So
a
this
lot of
episode
deep stuff.
really was very, again, maybe triggering is a little harsh, but like I can relate
Same.
to Mona, just not as far as I guess, dating or whatever. Anybody ever say no shit like that to me. But
Right.
maybe I'm just as bad because I thought my husband was Puerto Rican before when we first started dating. So maybe I'm also assuming things. But I didn't not believe him when he said he wasn't. I didn't say, no, you're not. But I think that I think social media has helped because a lot of us are able to see that there are other people who like what we like or do what we do.
Yeah. I
And now
I
it's
think
go ahead.
that's a great point. I feel like we all felt for the stereotypes that TV and propaganda was portraying us as. So like if we weren't all like whatever the one black character was on TV or the thug or the this or the that, like we believed what we saw. So like we saw so much negative stereotypes that like we believed that that had to be true in who we were. But then like you said, with social media and just like the world opening up in general, we could see more variations of ourselves. So then we can realize, oh, we are all of these things and we can be comfortable being all of these ways and like having a diversity of thought and opinion and of things we like and all of that nature. But I think, yeah, I think we took the bait that they wanted us to take back then, pretty much.
But did they not watch The Cosby Show? Did they not see those examples and Family Matters and all that? Like everybody ain't ghetto,
Yeah, yeah.
although a lot of us have our
But then
ghetto
when you
moments.
but also even with those shows, like people would say some of that was corny. That back then that was
True.
not cool. Like people like, oh, that's he's corny. They're corny. Like Steve Urkel's corny. Like the Winslows are corny. Like everything. If it was either like it wasn't black enough, or if it was still black but not cool, then they would just say it was corny just because it wasn't up to their standards. So it was always some kind of negative spin and connotation put on it. Like, oh, Family Matters is corny. You gotta watch Martin. Martin is cool. And it's like, what's the like? Come on, bro. Like. like,
I need my people to free themselves from
yeah.
these imaginary restraints
Yes.
and to just be you, do you. Because, even people like, oh, I grew up in the hood, like white people who have, a little black scent or a little persona. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
grew up in the hood. So what? A lot of people grew up in the hood. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't make you a
Nothing.
certain way. So I think that maybe Mona was shielded from a lot of this somehow. I don't know how, because if
Mm-hmm.
that's the case, I feel like this should not have been the first time she heard this, but
Yeah.
maybe somehow she got away with it. But it was interesting to hear about how Mona is half Jewish for the first time because I couldn't
Yeah.
remember if it was discussed prior to us meeting Phyllis's mother. And then I looked it up because I was like, what was the point? Like, why did they decide to do that? Was it just for the plot or whatever? Or is it Rachel's real ethnicity? And I looked it up and she is half Jewish. So I guess that's why they did it because it
That's cool.
wasn't mentioned very much. So that's why I was like, why even do it? But I guess to make it more, true to life for her. So that was interesting
I
except
did
in
love
her
that.
case, it's her
You
because
said her
really,
mom's mom?
yeah, because they made Phyllis, I guess, the Rachel True because Mona's parents are black,
Yeah.
but Phyllis's mom is white, but
Yeah.
Rachel's dad is white.
Yeah.
But again, her mother is played by is Estelle Parsons? No, Estelle Harris. Estelle Harris, who was also George Costanza's mother and Mrs.
Mm-hmm.
Potato Head. But it was interesting that they, threw that in there like that, but also seemed natural. Like it wasn't not
Yeah.
believable.
It was a very fun, natural way they did it. I also like found it funny while we were talking about the stereotypes, how Phyllis was like, what do you mean he don't think you black enough? Like, hasn't he seen my behind? Like, you got my behind. We plenty black. And she showed it's
She
like,
strutted on off.
yo,
And the image of Grandma Sophie stinking up the Soul Train line is one I'd
yeah,
love to see in real life.
same.
But even with the fact that she's half Jewish, she's still, whatever blackness means to you, because it really can't be defined. Whatever I do,
Right.
black people do it because I'm black and I'm doing it. So I don't
Exactly.
even think it was necessary to include her mixed heritage as some type of explanation, but that's what we do. I would do that before
Right.
when I, was in high school. Or, I don't know if I was doing it at that point, but probably at some point, oh, I go to a white school or I live in the suburbs. They ain't got shit to do with it. I'm just
Right. Right.
me
Right.
because I'm me. Because
Right.
my husband grew up, in what some would probably consider the hood at parts of his life, and he's a lot more, what's the word? Um, he can be a lot more varied in his interests than a lot of
Yeah,
black people than me. Like he likes anime and all the things that, all but a lot of things that people consider, alternative. Like he's used to wear the
right,
spike collar and the big boots in high school, very Mona, I guess, and likes
right.
a lot of rock music. So it really doesn't matter where you grew up. I mean, it's just what you like. And I
Yep,
think that at that time, they probably felt like they had to throw that in there as like a way to explain it. But were the show to air
right.
today, I don't think they would have even needed to bring that up in that context because people are more comfortable being, themselves. On a very deep episode of the Big Half and Half Watch podcast,
It
I
was though.
unpacked
It
my
was, man.
trauma.
It was, but then
But
it did get a little lighter, and then they started like she was just like going on and on about how she did not want to be alone. And then here come my favorite joke of the whole thing was when I think it was Fizz was like, "Ain't nothing wrong with being alone. Condoleezza Rice is alone. Diana Ross is alone. I mean, sure she's got a lot of hair, but she has to take that off, and then when she does, that half is alone too." I was
I'll put
like,
that as my
God,
read of the week since she never crossed paths with Dee Dee. I'll say
yeah,
the read for Diana Ross. I don't know if it
yes.
was
I was like, well, wow, she caught a stray. First of all. Second of all, Condoleezza Rice also caught a stray, was throwing in. We just love throwing in random political figures. It's usually Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice. Like, we just throwing in so many random
that's true. They
black
did just
political figures in this show. But I was like, man, that was a rough
but she
stray
would have
Diana
been
Ross caught.
the Secretary of State at that time, I believe, which I
Yeah,
didn't even think about. And Colin Powell, yeah, he would have
it was
been
the
the
same era.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
that's
So I
crazy.
guess that was what was in the zeitgeist, and we were just throwing them out there because we didn't usually have black people in those positions, and we still
Mhm.
don't. So
Yeah. Well, they really were highfalutin if they're hobnobbing with somebody who is actively a part of the cabinet, which makes me wonder, were Charles and Big Didi Republicans? But probably. I
it's a
think
different time.
that, had the show been on for longer, that they definitely would have, been up there with the Obamas somewhere.
Yeah,
But I think that with her little reference, I was wondering, is there some hidden beef between Thelma and Diana since they both started out with Motown? I don't know if
right.
that was, part of that, but hilarious nonetheless.
Yeah.
And at that point, then we end up back at Dee Dee's, and we're again getting a Dee Dee makeover. We just had
Yeah,
one.
because even though Phyllis spent all that time and energy trying to convince her like she's enough and you don't got to do all of that, she said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." Phyllis left, and she was like, "I'm trying to be black enough for this man who wants me to be blacker." So
But is her big curly natural hair not black enough? I don't understand. I don't get
I
it.
guess not. So they wrapped it up and put a headscarf on it,
A
and then
table
she
runner.
said, "Wow, yeah, it's amazing what you do with this table runner." Which was also funny. But yeah, you would think like her big natural hair would have been enough because again, especially back then, that was seen as very pro-black, so to speak, when people were pressing their hair and straightening their hair. So
Yeah.
like it was a statement in itself for her hair to be like that, but not enough for that man. So she had to put the headscarf on
Which she
to
needed Dee Dee to do that? Like, couldn't just
that
wrap
was all.
around?
And also even with the dress, the outfit that she had on, also seemed like something she would have just worn
Yeah, but
without
all of
Dee
it
Dee's help.
seems, so I'm like, what is the big difference? Because you would think she had some huge makeover. He's like, oh my
Right,
God, wow. Like, if Mona had just come out with that, I don't know if I would have thought, "Ooh, why is she dressed like that?" I probably would have
right,
assumed that was part of her normal attire.
right.
I feel like this storyline really could have worked better with Dee Dee, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm
Again,
wondering.
I wonder if because we constantly like credit and praise this show for like going left of what the obvious thing to do is.
Maybe.
So I wonder if probably somebody did like pitch it as that, and then they're like, well, what if we did it this way, and then we could do a different story than what is typically done. So
True.
I mean, because it does allow them to do things and have a discussion that you don't typically have, because otherwise, yeah, it is just like, oh, the rich snobby girl isn't seen as black enough because she's
Mhm.
bougie and has these brand clothes and does and talks like this and shops here and whatever. So I think it did kind of flip it a little bit because
Yeah.
naturally, again, like she works for a hip hop label Like, what are we talking about? Like, it's so on the surface, it seems kind of funny, but I
I
think it
think
also
they
just
did do
does
that.
go to show like anybody, no matter how quote unquote black you are, can have their blackness dissected and like torn apart.
You really can. And I guess maybe they did intentionally do that because even if you look at Sister Sister, the one that grew up on the bad side of town, with Lisa, that was the one that was seen as more down. But the one that grew up in the burbs with Ray was the one that
Hmm.
was, a little disconnected from,
Hmm.
the streets or whatever you want to call it. So maybe they did intentionally say, no, we're not going to do what you would think that we would do because that's not what we do over here. So,
Right.
okay, I see you went for Hervey. And once we get back over there, and then, Mona's back with her horrible dancing, which somehow seems a
Man,
little worse, actually,
it,
than
it
it did
definitely got worse. I don't know how.
when she's getting
Maybe
her little lesson.
maybe it got worse because Big Didi came in and danced her ass off and showed up
I know she was
everybody.
tired. I was tired. Maybe she wasn't because she's a dancer and used to it. But I was
Yeah,
tired just looking at her. I was like, she gonna spin around again, put
she
that
showed
leg
out,
up.
spinned around, put a leg
Woo.
up here, with twirling
And
and
that
just
wig
being.
did not move.
It
So
did
it
not.
was sealed shut on her head.
She showed
But
out. So shout out to her.
And that was, I think, the first time we get to see her real, like, theater dance move.
I
We've
think
kind
so
of
too.
heard
Which,
about it, but we didn't really see it. So
yep.
that's interesting. I wonder at what point they realize that'll be a part of her lore.
I feel like they starting to show it off more because I think it was the
Mhm.
last episode where we got her singing the jokes, and so we heard the
Yeah.
vocals. So now, like last episode, they were like, "Oh, we can show off the vocals," and then this one was like, "Okay, well then let's show off the dance moves and so her dancing background." So I think slowly, I think they
Mhm.
connected those dots and trying to let her show off all of her great strengths that she has.
And what she does on when she gets pulled over. So you getting out the car, you doing this on the side of the highway to keep from getting your tickets, or are you doing this in the traffic court? I'm just trying to visualize this, but it works. And she said that's what got Dee Dee conceived, but they met in the hot tub. So was she doing that in the hot tub at the hotel, lifting her
Hey,
leg up? I don't
you
know.
use your imagination. I use mine. You use yours.
They're
How?
both very flexible because Charles did
Yeah,
his split the last episode.
yeah,
So
exactly. So two very flexible people who they had some things going on.
work. No wonder they end up with Drew. But I love how she's like, oh no, you can't do none of this. This is all you can do. And just does a little side step, which she still couldn't handle. Bless her heart. Oh my goodness, poor
It was
Mona.
beyond me.
That was rough. But if Rachel True is able to dance, it's always interesting how actors have to pretend not to know how to do something they know how to do. Like, if they're acting and they have to, act, poorly or dance poorly or whatever. That's even more, acting to have to
It
not
is.
do the thing well that you know how to do.
Yeah, yeah. If she can dance really good and like she's able to portray such a bad dancer, like again, kudos to her physical comedy because like this is like amazing
I don't know.
work.
I don't know. I'm trying to think in the intro, is Mona really fucking it up like that? Not so much as
I don't
everybody else.
remember. Hey,
So
maybe it's a thing where like it's a real on a small scale and then they exaggerated it a lot. I don't know,
because I
but
really can't see Rachel True being like, okay, everybody clear the dance floor. I'm finna fuck it up. I just don't necessarily get that vibe. But if she can dance, I'd love to see it. I'm sure, it'd be something to see. Ain't nobody out there watching me dance for me to keep saying I can. I don't know if there's a lot of evidence of that, but I can say it.
but I don't know if there's evidence. Oh no, there is actually evidence of me dancing on the interwebs. Me and Twitch, rest in peace to Twitch. I saw him at a taping one time and like we had danced previously at the Ellen show in the audience. So when he saw me, like he kind of called me out and we had a little dance battle, and that is
Oh,
available on the interwebs.
I'm gonna
So
have to go look that up.
yes
Well, there's
indeed.
plenty of videos of me doing the dance from the half and half intro over the past couple of
Very true.
decades. Lots of those. So go out and go and find those, everybody.
It's
But
not hard. Go on our page.
yeah, there's some on there too. Shit, and they're endless. And I do have a few videos of me dancing. Everybody dance now. If you can find it, good for you. But they're out there. And we end up next after this little, dance lesson from Didi LaFontaine. back with Mona doing, and I put that it's a black scent, but the other day on Threads there was a whole conversation about black people can't have black scents because they're black. But the fact that she was intentionally putting it on, I think still makes it a black scent.
I think so too. I think if you're like intentionally quote unquote blacking it up, I would still call
Like
it that even
it
if
was
you are black.
very, I mean, it was a little, I won't say it was shucking and jiving, but it was very much like, I don't know, like kind of how people talk on Good Times a little
Yeah,
bit. Like, hey,
yeah,
what's up, my soul brother? You jive
right,
turkey, that
right.
type of thing, which, some people talk like that, I suppose.
Yeah, especially back then.
But
But
it was a little much, a little
yeah,
overkill, Mona.
yeah.
But I'm surprised she didn't have like a big afro. That would have been real, Black Power with a little pick sticking out.
I guess because they were just trying to contrast again. Her hair was naturally big and natural anyway, so I guess to contrast it, they chose the opposite route.
Yeah, because now that's seen as like, Afrocentric
Yeah.
or whatever. But at that time, I guess people really were not wearing their hair like that, black women a whole lot. And those that did, it probably wasn't seen like that. Because I
Hmm.
didn't even know at that time that my hair could look how it does now when I put some type of conditioner. I had no idea that was possible.
Right.
I thought it was just afro or fade.
Right.
So I guess it wasn't the big wave hadn't hit. So she was ahead of her time
Just
because now
again,
everybody's
always ahead
wearing
of
their
her
hair like
time.
Rachel True has her hair.
Yep.
Really? And they are trying to get that look. But back then, I
Yeah.
think it was only like mixed people, her and the
Yep.
solids. You didn't really see a lot of
Right.
that. So I guess again, this is just the time period that they were in. And
Yep.
we see Spencer back being a creep. The usual status quo. I mean, I guess he didn't, maybe it wasn't that bad because he did ask for consent. He asked, can we take a shower? He wasn't saying, let's take a shower together.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
that makes it okay. I
I
mean,
don't know.
I don't know.
Shortly after that, though, we did get my favorite Spencer line of the episode, which actually wasn't that creepy. Where he saw like how Miles is loving this new look on Mona, so then he was like, "Well, shoot, if the Erica Badu rag gets her some loving, I'm gonna go get me one for myself."
Hey, you got to do what you got to do,
Erica
Spencer.
Badu rag is such a good joke.
And again, another person, who has that similar aesthetic. But
Yes.
I don't know, was Erica Badu not seen as black enough or India Arie when they came out?
No one would say that. Literally, no one. So again, that yeah, it doesn't
Little
fully the
creative
math don't fully
license there, I
match.
guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe because it's San Francisco. I don't know. But again, I have because after she basically, if you didn't watch the show and you're just listening to us because you love us, Mona comes to the club with her new look and sees Miles and he's very into it. So she feels like it worked and she's continuing her facade for
Mhm.
him. And eventually, it becomes obvious that he really had a serious problem with how she looked, and he was saying that this is better, as if the way she was before was bad. And she's
Yeah.
still up to a certain point is still trying to get with him. So I just wrote, Mona is so thirsty, embarrassing. Get up, Mona. That's what
It
I
got
wrote.
it got real bad. Like and then for whatever reason, she didn't like really catch it until like he was giving her so many compliments, and then he was like, "It's different. It's different enough." And then she's like, "Different enough? Like, what does that mean?" And then he was like, like it's different enough. The
I
changes are more in
mean,
touch with who we are as a people. And then she's like, who we are? You mean who you are? Like, who is we? Like, I'm black too. So how you gonna tell me I had to change to be more like we as in myself when I'm already black? Like, no, you're talking about who you are and your preferences and what you like.
and again, we weren't woke back then, but you don't discuss a black woman's hair. You don't comment on that.
Yep.
And there can be a lot of microaggressions. Again, my former place of employment, I had my hair curly one day and somebody said, "Oh, is that your I don't give a fuck look?" I said, "No, this is how my hair grows out of my head." So, people
Yeah.
real comfortable these days
Yeah.
and just seem to think that, they can just comment and say whatever they want about
Yep.
people's hair because it's a very personal thing. And for her to do all of that and, hide who she is, and he's still, laying it on there pretty thick with, his rudity, I'll say. And she up, until the very end is still like, well, how about I do this? How about I do that? I
Right.
was dating somebody once and I used to change my hair a lot more back in the day. And I guess he saw some pictures or something. He was like, "Oh, I don't like how you have it then, and I don't like this. Keep it how you got it now." And I was like, "Well, it's my hair on my head, so I'm gonna do what I want, and I might do it like that. I might keep it like this, but at the end of the day, I like it." But I guess if I was Mona, I would say, "Oh, you okay? I'm sorry. I'll never do it again." But I really don't like that people telling you what you should do and how you should be because she could have had a lot to say about him and what he was doing and what he should be doing. And I really in my head recalled there being something that happened that kind of showed that he wasn't as black as he thought he was, but I guess I made that up because it didn't happen. But I was waiting for. I was like, "Where's the scene?" I don't know. Maybe they cut it out. But I'm glad she does eventually, grow a backbone at the very end, right before we hit the
Yeah.
credits. So I guess better than
She
nothing.
she finally stood up and was like, even though I'm not who you want to be, like I'm a strong black woman, and you don't get to decide to find my blackness. So she finally got there. It took her 22 minutes, as it does,
Yeah.
but she got there.
Better
And
late
then
than pregnant.
the funny part was even at the end when he was like, you know what, you're right, you got it. And then he was like, Mona Thorne, you are one of a kind, and I'm feeling that. And then she was like, yeah, you should. And then like you could see for a second she still thought that like he was gonna be into her, and you could see that she still wanted him to be into her. And I was like, girl,
Mm.
well, you ain't gave up on that man yet. But then he completed his sentence and he was like, I'm sure you make some crazy white boy very happy, and he walked off.
Now, there are plenty of people that I'll see and I'll be like, I bet they was somebody white. And then they typically will be. But I don't get that from Mona. I don't
Nah,
really get that she's that type that only dates white men or whatever. And she only
right,
has like one white boyfriend throughout the whole show.
right,
So that was a weird statement, Miles, bad Miles, for you to say.
yes.
And I think that is this part of why so many black women end up with white men because of how black men are acting and how they treat them. Is that what it is? I think he was
It
intimidated by her.
it
Because what
doesn't
did he
help.
even do for a living? Did we ever find out? You're
I
threatened
think
by
she, I,
a
I think she
uh
said he was a sports writer. I want to
was that
say, and
it?
that's like not a, it is what it is.
You have a beautiful, intelligent black woman who does not pay rent, and this is how you're gonna treat her?
Right.
Disgusting. You don't
Like,
deserve Mona. See, I'm on your side now, Mona, after I dragged you a little bit. I understand. I understand why you are like this. I
yeah,
just don't want you to be like this. I want you to
yeah,
value yourself, Mona, and think that you do deserve somebody who's going to like you for you. Because that's the
right.
whole point, isn't it? Otherwise, you're putting up a charade for the
You can't
entirety of
keep
your
it up.
relationship.
Yeah, you can't keep it up for forever. So like, yeah, there's no point in starting it that way if it ain't gonna end that way. Like, you might as well just drop the charade and be who you are.
Right.
She finally got there until she didn't, because then the the last very quick scene at the end with her and Didi at the bar, and they talking about all the stuff that was going on, and Didi was proud of how she acted, and Mona was proud to be who she is, and then this guy comes up and mistakes her for Mel B again, and she instantly throws on the brush. He said,
Hello,
turns back
love.
into Mel B. And then to make it worse, Dee joined in with the accent and turned into a British person too.
Maybe they're
Right
just
after,
drunk. Maybe that's it.
maybe, maybe, because right after they said they was comfortable with who they were, like I get the funny flip of like being like, oh yeah, I love myself, and then turning into somebody else. But it's also like, girl, did y'all learn anything? What are we
Well, they
doing?
look like they were drinking that Patron for real. And how expensive is that to get a whole bottle in the club of Patron? You just sitting it
It,
on the
it's
on
on
the
Dee,
bar.
so Dee got
Yeah,
the tab.
she
It's
got it
fine.
like that. But I feel that, how do I feel? I don't know. This episode brought up so many emotions.
Yeah,
I think that I guess I understand because there are certain things that you'll do. My husband Manny went to a haunted house with me when we first started dating. He would never do that now. He
right.
even saw, a scary movie with me, which was not that scary. I don't remember what it was, but it was PG-13, so please.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't do that now. And I'm sure
I
there's
get
plenty of things I did that I wouldn't
I,
do.
I I get like exploring, and like you don't want to just be like too stubborn inside of yourself
Right.
to where like you don't try new things. There's a difference between like trying new things and becoming someone you already won't like. Like
Yeah, I mean, I guess he wasn't doing it in Manny's case, because oh maybe I'll like it. It was okay, I like you, so I'm gonna go along with it, as
Yeah,
we do, when you
and
first
you want
start
to
dating
enjoy the
somebody.
things your partner
Right, but you
enjoys.
don't
Like,
change who you are. Like there's a difference between going
right,
somewhere you wouldn't want to go and changing a part of your identity to fit the mold of what they think they want. Because
exactly,
first it's this, then it's going to be something else and something else, something else. And what is he giving up? What is he changing? And her example about, oh, if you dated a vegan or whatever, I mean, I
right,
dated a vegan. I still ate what the hell I wanted to eat.
right,
So, I mean, I guess it depends. Like people who change their religions so they can marry people. I'm not doing all that. I ain't doing none of that. Okay.
right,
This is what you get. Yes, things can change and evolve over time, but core
right,
fundamental things that make me me, if
right,
you don't like that, then you don't need to be with me.
exactly.
Simple as that. As Yvette Nicole Brown said on Welcome to the Family with Thelma Hopkins and Kelly Williams, and they had their little half and half reunion because she played Ceci. She was
Hmm.
talking about that in a sense because I don't remember the context, but she was talking about how she didn't get engaged till she was like 52, and how a lot of people are
Yeah,
like, oh, my man got to have this. They got to be 6 feet. They got to, make this much
right.
money. And she's like, 6 feet doesn't mean you're gonna bring me tea, when I get up, or whatever little things that her husband does. Like, that's
Yeah,
not what matters. These are not the things that you should be looking at. You should be looking at what type of person they are, how they treat you. Being good looking certainly goes a long way with me, but
right.
people, I see that a lot myself all the time. People who are single, and it's like, well, they need this, they need that. And it's like,
Right.
well, does that really matter? Because they could do all of that and be an asshole. So
Exactly.
why
And I've
change
never
yourself?
exactly, and I don't know anybody who's happier in their relationship than Yvette. So like, take her word of advice, y'all. Like, is
I mean, yeah, you might venture outside of what you like and you might find something that, works for you. Because I don't think my husband and I don't think we are each other's what we assume to be our ideal type prior to meeting.
right,
But look at us now. And I think a lot of people out there should open up their horizons. I'm not saying go crazy, but
right,
if you're focusing on the wrong shit, maybe that's why you're alone. Maybe that's why
exactly,
Bad Miles, was alone. Because he's looking, oh, well, you have to do this. So let's say Mona was super Afrocentric, but, a hardcore drug addict. Does that outweigh it? So
right,
I just feel like there are so many people like Bad Miles, and he was probably on the better end of it. And I don't think a lot of people realize that that is why they're alone. And as far as
exactly,
Mona, I think it goes both ways. A lot of people are alone because they aren't looking for people who like them for them. They're looking for whatever and how they can mold themselves into what that person is seeking. And,
exactly,
as a doctor, I just don't think that is a good foundation or basis of a relationship, because even if you do change everything, at the end of the day, it still may not go your way, whether it be changing your personality, changing religion. Hell, did anybody see Sally Field and Not Without My Daughter? She changed her religion. You see where that got her. So
exactly.
be who you are, and nobody can define your blackness. For those out there listening who have been told one thing or another, this is my inspirational speech, I guess, that you can what are the damn lyrics of the song? You can become whatever you want. that's
Yes,
that's the core of the show. You can become whatever you want to be. All you need
exactly.
is love and unity. That's it. Not a head wrap made from a fucking table runner. So good riddance to Bad Miles. I feel like he came back later in another episode, if I'm not mistaken. But to hell with him. Good riddance. Who
Yeah,
needs you? Mona, everybody you picked so far has been terrible. I'm just
yeah.
disgusted.
It's not. Yeah, the picks ain't picking so far, but
You got
it's
me all
certainly on.
worked up now,
At least
Mona.
she's doing the thing Phyllis told her to do a few episodes. She's got to go through the bad ones to find the good ones. So that's the phase we on.
I mean, seems a little early to be meeting her mama as well, but I mean, 2 weeks in and you're meeting the mama? Okay, sure, why not?
Yeah, but
But
I
at
guess
least
she
it
just happened to
lasted.
be there. I guess I don't think it was the plan. Maybe they
Yeah,
didn't
because
really address
at
that.
one point I was like, are the flowers and stuff for Phyllis, or was he bringing them for Mona and Phyllis just happened to be there?
Yeah, they never really made that clear. That's a good question.
But if Mona knew he was coming, it must have been to meet Phyllis. Otherwise, she would have shoved her out the door. So
Right.
Maybe. And she was so thirsty, she probably was already, planning their life together and Phyllis getting her grandbabies. If they do a reboot, I hope Phyllis has her grandbabies because she always wanted that. And I
Yes.
want that for her. But yeah, overall, I had a lot of mixed feelings, no pun intended. It was hard to fully just enjoy it
Same.
because that is a topic that is still something I have to deal with a
Mm.
lot and it annoys me to no end. It doesn't make me feel bad. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
So I feel you on that, Mona. And, you know, for
I'm
those
surprised they
out
didn't throw
there,
out the default Oreo title that they used
yeah.
to say back then. That's used
Ooh,
to
you're
hear that a
getting me
lot.
high again. That
Man,
shit.
my bad. I bring it true, but that was the one. It was like, yo, you an Oreo? It's like, oh, come on, bro. First of all, I love Oreos. They're like one of my favorite treats. So why you got to put a negative spin on such a delicious thing?
I think, and let's say that we were to say, okay, this is how we're supposed to act to be, it would not come off authentic at all, I'm sure.
Yeah,
And then we would be called out for that. So
yeah.
what do you people want from us?
And also we are different people at different times in different spaces, sometimes naturally. Like if I'm more comfortable with you, then I'll do certain things over here, and then if I'm more comfortable with this person doing this thing, like I'm so like we're never like 110% like locked down into like this person character that like we can be so many things like so let us be all the things, y'all. Let us be all
And
the
I think,
things.
now with the way the climate is, that a lot of people who were seen as not black enough are now coming out as being, I guess, the most black when it comes to speaking out against things and making sure our people got what we need or whatever. The people that are trying to dictate blackness, where y'all at? You on the front lines? You marching? You protesting? Oh, I didn't think so.
Right, right.
So, we have to save the people that don't even want to include us a lot of the times,
Exactly. Exactly.
unfortunately. But yeah, I think that, a lot of white people feel this way too and will say stuff like that, like, oh, you're the whitest black guy? No, that type of shit. So where are you getting your opinions on black people from? TV?
Crazy.
Like,
Literally, again, falling for the bait, taking the stereotype, what they learn from TV, man.
well, they
TV
don't
is
want
powerful,
me,
guys. We got to use the power for good. If we've learned anything, TV is a powerful tool.
y'all don't want me basing my opinions on y'all from what I watch, because I watch a lot of true crime. So are all y'all cutting people up, putting them in the freezer? Okay, then. All right. So
Right.
see, we don't want to do that. But I think that, at least for me, even if there were certain things I wanted to do or express coming up, as they say, my mother wasn't here for all of that because she was very into that, being a boomer, identity, politics and whatnot of, oh, make sure you present yourself like this, make sure you do that. So it was, even if that's what I wanted, I don't know what the real me is. Maybe I would have been like that if I didn't have her in my ear,
Right.
but it's, a double-edged sword. Like you don't want to act too much like this because people are going to treat you a certain way, which is true. I know for a fact I get to do a lot of things in my life because of how I look and present myself, how I speak, and because people probably don't think I'm like, I don't know, or they think I'm a different special black person. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But, you got to do what you got to do in order to
Yep.
survive in this world. So sometimes it's about assimilating. It can be many things, really.
Yep.
So, Winifred Hervey, you're gonna have me going to therapy now. So thanks for
Well,
that.
well,
Um,
how many mics you feeling over there since
I
this
don't
has got
know.
you all in your feelings, man?
Am I doing mics or how many black power fists
How
am I
many
doing?
therapists are you going to have to see after this?
Let's see. If I take my own personal feelings out of this and just look at it as a TV show and not from, personal, I want to say, I don't know, because I don't want to underrate or overrate. So let's just get this out. I don't think it's a five,
Yeah.
but I'm hovering between a 3.5 and a 4. So I don't know if I'm doing 3.75, but I'll say, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Let me see if I can help guide you because you're hovering where I was hovering at. And so I'm gonna stay with a 4 for taking on the. I'm gonna give it the extra point 0.5. I'm gonna jump from the 3.5 to the 4 because it tackled what it tackled,
Yeah.
and because it did do it in a fresh way. Again, there was a very like easy stereotypical way to address this issue, and for this episode to go, and like it did not go that way at all. So I think taking on that topic in a fresh way, I think it deserves a 4.5. And again, it is funny. We got an amazing DMX cameo, so you also got to give it that boost for that. Like he was hilarious. So yeah, and Jason George was great. So like
Yeah, I think if it was a different topic that didn't hit hard to close to
yeah,
home, I could have enjoyed it more. So I think I can do a 4, but I think one thing that I tend to think about with shows like this is okay, if a white person is watching this, which why am I thinking about them? This isn't about them. It's for black people anyway, as Kevin Stan would
exactly,
say.
exactly.
But I think about that, like, assuming they didn't watch the whole thing, are they gonna now feel emboldened to have the same opinions and things? I think that's why I'd never really been into the Chappelle show because
Mm.
in high school it was all these white people talking about how hilarious it was, and I'm like, why is that funny to you? What are you looking at? Like, I know a white
Which is
person
why he
who
stopped doing it because he got too upset that too many white people was
exactly.
on board. He was like, "It's not for you. It's for us. It's for us anyway."
So
But
I mean, it's not on, the show, it's not on Winifred, but I guess I think about people who will use this as a justification for how they think. Even if they watch the whole thing, they might be like, no, he was right. So,
yeah,
like I know somebody, a white person who loved Miss Pat, and I'm like, what are you watching Miss Pat for? Why is that funny to you? So I think when it's something that is for us, by us, and then interlopers come and they like it, and, I'm just like, what is your motivation here? So I just hope that that doesn't make other people feel like, yep, he's right. That's exactly if she should be doing this. But I don't think that anybody white watching that would think Mona is whitewashed. I don't
right.
think that. Maybe Dee Dee, if anybody, especially Big Dee Dee. But I don't know. This is opening up a lot of things that, it's not, not supposed to open up. But yeah, I think it's a 4. It's just that topic. I'm not used to it being addressed, I don't think, on TV, which
Yeah,
maybe should make it a 4.5. So
right.
it just throws me off because you really don't see a lot of that and you don't see that
Yeah.
representation. I don't know if Freddie, I feel like there was something similar with Freddie on Different World where she wasn't seen as black enough, especially when her
Um.
brother came along. And maybe even, Jenny on Jefferson, but not quite the same. Because if you
Right.
don't know who Jenny's parents are, then you're not going to think anything.
Right.
But I think that. I'm just glad they got somebody black to write the episode.
Yeah.
That's the main takeaway for me. But they should have had more. They should have done more with her Jewish side, though. I think they could have incorporated that a little bit more, not necessarily just in this episode, but in general. Because if you are going to talk about her rich background and all these things, it should be talked about a little more. Because I think it's literally twice that it's even brought up.
Yeah. It would have been fun to see that brought more to light and like balancing all of those her ethnicity and that person inside of her and like the juggling of it all. Like it would have been good to kind of like continue this topic in a different way.
And I'm trying to think. I know there's some Golden Girls episodes. We rarely see black people on there. I feel like she wrote the episode. Let me look it up, where they get the black housekeeper, if I'm not mistaken. Don't get me to lying, but I believe she either wrote that one or the one where Dorothy's son marries a black woman. So
Mm.
I guess that was her thing. That's her specific talent is, black centric episodes, even if it's not a black show.
Some
But
people are good at like tackling the heavier topics. Like we always got the heavier topics on Actor Age. Like some people like know how to find the nuance of the humor and like
Mhm.
dealing with some real shit.
Yeah. And that is hard to do. And I think that, any other topic that could have been done that, didn't correlate with me so strongly, I would have, probably felt similarly that, oh, this is great that they're tackling it. But I don't know. I don't know why, why I struggle with this episode. Maybe I don't like the resolution. Maybe that's
Yeah,
what it is. I don't like how it was resolved because probably she still was willing to be with him. So maybe that's what it is. That it
yeah,
wasn't like a let me tell you about yourself because I don't have to deal with
yeah,
this. So yeah,
yeah.
that's it. We've unpacked it.
it would have been ironic if at the end, like she told him off, and then he was like, "Oh, that's the type of sister I want. Somebody that's gonna be really
Yeah,
good to
you would
my face."
expect that.
And then she was like, "Okay, cool, but still, f you. Like, get out of here."
Hmm.
Like she wouldn't like if he got into her, and then she was clearly like, "Nah, I'm straight on it. Like I told you before, I'm standing on that. Get out the door." And then that would have been a fun little flipping way to end it for sure.
And it reminds me of Girlfriends when Lynn's sister comes, who's white, and she's dressing up, to appear black, I guess. And there was a similar thing of like, she's got more soul than Lynn, who's actually half black, and she even says the N-word. And I think the story ended up being that she wanted Lynn to know her black side, so she got really into black culture, and she had cornrows
Yeah,
at one point. So I think that is a topic we see, but in a different way, with different sitcoms. I don't think the Parkers ever tackled Stevie, you know, other than her having a black girl booty. But
right.
it should be discussed more because I think if it was, then maybe it wouldn't be as shocking, I guess, when it is discussed. Because I'm running in my head through all the black shows, and I feel like it doesn't come up as much as it maybe could or should, because it is
Right.
a very real thing. So again, hats off to you, Winifred Hervey. It's just a triggering topic. So
Mhm. Kudos.
yeah,
Kudos.
is that it? Are we done?
We are
Have
done.
we exhausted this topic?
Time to go to therapy. We've done
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
we can do
yeah.
here.
Well, thanks for listening or watching or smelling, whatever, however you choose to absorb this podcast. And we hope that, why was I about to say what they used to say in church when I was growing up? I was about to say, we hope that something is said or done that might make you want to come back and worship with us again. We know you had a choice, and we
I
thank you for
mean,
choosing St. Mark. That's what came in my head, so I'm just going to change it. We know you had a choice, and we thank you for listening to the Big Half and Half Rewatch podcast. All episodes now streaming, and follow us at the Big Half and Half Pod on Instagram and send us some questions and some comments and things so we can have some people to respond to out there. And somebody, please, please find that person, that coach, please. Through this journey of discovery, in finding you, I'm finding me. But I hope to find you listening to episode 2 of the Big Half and Half Rewatch podcast coming soon. And be sure to follow us on Instagram at the Big Half and Half Pod. Our theme song was produced by Jerome Starwalker McKenzie and performed by Voice and J Anonymous and written by Miles Mighty Ward. And you can follow me, Barrett, at So Good We Named It on all social media. And you can follow Miles at Really Mighty. And you can email us at the Big Half and Half Podcast at gmail.com with any questions or comments about the show. Half and Half was created by Jeffrey Cleric and executive produced by Yvette Lee Bowser.